because I've got two-page agenda. Great, thank you.
All right, thank you
Ron,
very
why don't you
much.
open it up?
Thanks, Gary. I appreciate it. I'll make it quick, but I guess this is just kind of a thought for the day. I have a lot of experience with clubs, associations, being an officer, a member, and Mary Lou has been really uh, getting our interest. My wife and I have been looking for a common hobby, and we're looking very strongly at astronomy. She surprised me, and she started reading the astronomy magazines that Mary Lou said I should subscribe to, etc. And I told her, I said, well, it's really important that you belong to a club or a group. So we looked up the club in our area, the Ogden Amateur Astronomy Club. And I talked her into going, and she's a little shy. And I said, oh no, I said, this will be a great experience. So we walk into the meeting, and nobody said hi. Nobody talked to us. We went and found two chairs and sat down. We were about 12 minutes early. A couple of minutes before the meeting started, a gentleman came over and said, hi, are you new? And I said, yeah, we're just checking out the club and the hobby. He goes, that's great. And then he goes, are you, to my wife, he goes, are you just here for him, or are you actually interested? And my wife was like, well, I'm interested. He goes, well, that's kind of weird to have a woman here. And then he went and sat down. And then they had the meeting, and there was nothing in the meeting of, is anybody new, or we don't know you two, so glad to have you here. When the meeting was over, my wife said very tersely, that's it, let's go. And I said, sure, hon. So as we're walking out, this one member says, oh, are you guys new? I said, yeah, we're just checking out the club. He goes, oh, well, hope you come back, and turns and starts talking to the person next to him again. And we left. And so my point is this. As we have scientists, we have people that are very learned, as we have people that are rookies, as we have engineers, we have a lot of different melding of people with different backgrounds. How important it is to remember to give the greeting on my very first time on this ham side when I first came on. And I had all kinds of people telling me, it's so good to have you here. Don't worry about not knowing a lot about it. We just value having you as part of our group. And it's grown into my limited role today of trying to disseminate as much as I can information about this wonderful group. So it was just a reminder how just a word at a ham fest, taking a minute to reach out to people and acknowledge them, and to make sure that they have that warm welcome. And I'll be quiet now, Gary. I just wanted to share that.
Good
Right, that's great,
reminder.
Ron. Go ahead, Mary Lou.
Pardon
So
me,
in my
Ron, I just got in late. What club were you talking about?
The Ogden Amateur Astronomy Society.
Oh, interesting, because we've got two astronomy clubs here that I'm members of, a member of, and half of us are women, and we're very open to newcomers. So sorry you had a bad experience there.
And it didn't bother me. You know, and she wants to try out Salt Lake, and I think Mary Lou had something.
Very good. Thanks.
Yeah, so in the two astronomy clubs that I'm part of in New Jersey, we try to be welcoming, and we find out as people are coming in, are you new? Oh, great. And please stand up and tell us about yourself. And we often point out then, you know, if it's a person who's interested in buying a telescope, well, why don't you talk to Joe over there? He knows a lot about that. Or if you're really interested in the moon, talk to Susan. She's really good about the moon, you know, to try to get them connected right away. And yeah, I'm sorry you had a bad experience with the Ogden group. Try Salt Lake City.
Like I said, it didn't bother me.
Do you know, Ron, do you know that very soon Salt Lake City Planetarium is going to have something? It's on the 23rd, so that's a couple days from now. There's going to be a new stamp put out, U.S. Postal Service stamp, for the OSIRIS-REx mission, which is went to an asteroid called Bennu and got a sample, and the sample is going to come back on the 24th. So in some desert in Utah, don't know what that means, but at any rate, so the first day of issue ceremony will be the previous day at the Clark Planetarium in Salt Lake City, and they will have 3 speakers. So one speaker is from the US Postal Service, another speaker is from NASA, and the third speaker is Michael Puzio, some name like that, who is the person who named the asteroid Bennu 10 years ago when he was 9 years old, and he won the naming contest. So NASA often has naming contests for things. And he said that in school they were studying the Egyptian gods, and there was one Egyptian god that was the god of herons, or long-legged stork-like birds, and he thought the picture of this spacecraft looked like a stork because it had long, big wings, which were the solar panels and whatnot. And so he thought he should name it for the Egyptian god of storks and herons, and that god's name is Bennu. And so he did that. So he's coming back. He's 19 now, and he's going to speak at this first day of issue ceremony. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, after I joined HamSci, my wife and I both joined the planetarium, and we've been members and active there. And so we were aware of that. And the person helping me to figure out which telescope we're going to buy is a former professor of astronomy and physics, I think at the University of Utah. But Gary, I've stolen your meeting. I'll let you have it back. But again,
so Ron, can you go to this meeting and take a picture of these three people for me?
if I'm free, I will do it.
Okay, thank you. I just think it's so cool. And the kid, I had a picture of the kid. I can't find it now, but when he was 9 years old, and he was a cute little kid.
Awesome. Well, it's okay to start with the human interest story. That's what we're all about, right? Science is a lot of numbers and crunching and data and all that, but there's humans behind it all, right? So that makes a lot of sense. All right. Let me throw the agenda up real quick. As I said, it's a pretty full one. Let's see, get this out of the way. Anyhow, Ed said his report's gonna be a little on the short side today.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quick. Yeah.
We've got a couple other topics and stuff, everything from articles to the RAC and their simulated emergency test, which I'll show that webpage, which is pretty cool. Steve's here. We got some updates on the TDOA event. The scoring committee's been doing some work. We've got a couple of things been happening that are pretty good. And then on the science topics, I kind of co-opted them a little bit and wanted to just mention the GRAPE one and just mention the dates for the HamSci workshop, so we don't let that go. Everybody can start marking their calendars. But anyhow, Ed, if you want to say your piece.
Yep, I'll be really and forever hold my peace, I guess. Yeah, just to be really quick this week, because we're sort of in between, is all the printed publications have already been out that we expect. Okay, with QST, CQ on the air. We're still waiting for Spectrum Monitor, but we're expecting a story there as well. Nick reported out on CIDX Messenger last week, so I think we're in pretty good shape in terms of all the pre-publications. I'm sort of in between right now. We'll be posting on the ARL PR and SM reflectors, next week going forward. I'm also following it with all the directors. We had a Roanoke presentation, which I referred to. We're going to be doing something in the Atlantic Division this weekend, if it doesn't rain, as part of a Hamfest. Podcasts. Gary will talk a little bit about the ARL in terms of being on their podcast this month, which should get us a couple of leads on some others. And I know that's been a tough one. Also following up with ARL bulletins. We're in that window now where we should be on the contest bulletin and obviously a couple of the others. We're also trying to get on the K7RA propagation bulletin, but I understand that K7RA has been ill the last couple of weeks. So we're just trying to play catch up and find out a little bit more about that. We'll talk about RAC as an agenda item and what's going on there. And we'll talk a little bit more about social media with Mackenzie and looking at some of the club lists. Just very, very quickly, one additional item in terms of interest. Just in terms of presentations. I did, and I know if you've got a presentation that we don't know about, please let us know that you're going to be doing one so we can add it to our master list. I did two this week. One for the Tri-County Amateur Radio Club in Roselle, just south of me here, an in-person show. Got a commitment to be doing a sort of a field day event on October 14th. And Nathaniel, I did the Binghamton W2OX yesterday. Okay, and they know that you're coming back because I committed us, okay, to come up. So it was a really good show. Actually, two people were FLARC members, so I sort of met some guys from the past. And they're going to be doing both an in-person event at the planetarium in Binghamton, and also they're going to have a number of people on the air. And I also took two additional events today since we talked, Gary. Coming up in October, one before and then one right afterwards. But that's my report.
Hey, Ed.
As to you. Yep.
Hey, Ed.
Yes.
So I think I sent you an email. I did a presentation last night here in Utah.
Yes, I have that on the list. Yep.
Tuesday morning, I had a phone call with the section manager and the PIO for the state.
Yep.
And I wrote something up. They sent it out to all ARRL members in the state of Utah, encouraging support and giving my information if they want more about it. And and last night we had a really good discussion, and I did the PowerPoint, and I think hopefully we get moving a little bit better.
That's great. Thank you. So yeah, just one last mention is that I took notice this afternoon, Gannett News Service has posted a couple of stories about how to watch the eclipse in your local market. So word is going to be getting around. So, and I know the club that I did on Monday night, there were still a lot of blank faces, but, just in terms of looking at publicity, the media now is starting to really pick up on that. I saw it in Burlington today, Elmira, and also in Ithaca and Binghamton rather. Okay, so that word is starting to get around as well too. So anyway, AF8A WX2R, back to you.
All right, great, Ed. Thanks. I know it's sometimes worth taking a few seconds to look back and see how far we've come. So we've been meeting at this time for about a year now, and we started out with a lot of ideas and a lot of enthusiasm. And I think that's carried through to a lot of accomplishments. And when you consider how many people have joined us and are now doing presentations for us, the articles, the help we've given each other with the articles, the personal appearances, the Hamfest. Gary Hogston, I can't find the photo at the moment, but you did a nice job at the last Hamfest you were at with the monitor and the moving, images and stuff. And so that kind of stuff, it all helps. It all really, really helps. So everybody needs to do one of these, so that's I think it's well deserved. Mary Lou, did you have another comment?
Oh, so I had a question for Ed.
Yeah.
In Binghamton, the planetarium, is that at the Copernic?
Yes,
yeah.
And that's where they meet. Okay.
That's a nice place.
And actually they're doing an event that day, and there's a number of their people that'll be on the air separately. So,
okay, the one in Vestal. That's a nice place.
That's it.
Yeah.
Also, Ed, an update. I'm going to Lexington Hamfest, which has been really kind of iffy lately in the past few years.
Yep.
They are going to do their Hamfest outdoors. So I'm not going to do Lexington Hamfest on October 7th because it's going to be outdoors and they can't guarantee electrical hookup.
Okay.
Hazard, I'm still waiting back to hear from Hazard, Kentucky on October 28th. But I do have a confirmation for the largest build as the largest Hamfest in Kentucky at Cave City, Kentucky on March 2nd, 24. And that's where Mammoth Cave is at. So it's usually a really good turnout.
Perfect. So we've already got 2 booked for 24. This is great. So all good. Thank you, Gary. Good work.
All right, good. Thanks, Ed. If you guys are done, I'm going to share my screen and we'll get back to the agenda so I can keep on track here. Okay, so Ed covered our articles and presentations. As he said, my article on the air led Becky to ask me to appear on their On the Air podcast. So we're going to record that on Monday in a couple of days. And she said that will go out on the 12th of October. So there we are, just 2 days before the SEQP. Hopefully we'll get some of the newer hams and whatnot that listen to that podcast involved in the SEQP. So that's a big plus. As Ed said, the ARL's on board with websites, newsletters, and doing a lot for us. So that's worked out very, very well. One of the things that both Ed and Mackenzie have been working on, we're trying to get to the point where we can get almost a posting a day on social media for the week or two leading up to the SEQP. So if anybody's got idea of events or images or themes that would make sense with HamSci and the Eclipse and whatnot, let us know. Toss them out there, and we'll pass them on to Mackenzie to promote, because she's been doing a nice job with Facebook and some of the other channels. Another idea that Mackenzie had, she's got a database of like 3,000 plus club email addresses in the States. We'd love to send out the information packet that Ed came up with, the brief explanation, then some of the details and stuff, and that Mackenzie worked out as well. But we don't really have a tool for doing mass mailings like of that size. You need an account with MailChimp or Constant Contact or some of that sort of thing. So I'm not sure if anybody has any alternate ideas, or if this is something we hold off a little bit from the October event and work on it between now and get it ready for next April.
Yeah, and I mentioned to Gary that I've got a Constant Contact that I'm using for example, like for the contest clubs, that I've taken as a freebie. But I don't think that I can do a mailing that large. So either we pare the mailing down,
Well,
or if someone else has one, I mean, we might be able to leverage it that way.
Can you send me an email about this, and I will add it to my things to ask my administration
Yeah,
about?
that would be great if we've got a workaround for that. So
Because just like these Zoom accounts, we have our enterprise Zoom account through the university. The university very likely has methods of doing mass mailings.
Yep.
So
yep. Yeah, because I mean, I've got the contest list. I also mentioned to Gary, I had the section manager list, but since the league has volunteered to do our mailing, I don't want to duplicate that. So, but a club list, I don't know how good the list is, which is the other issue. But nevertheless, and we could find out real fast by doing a mailing with it. So
I have a suggestion. If we kick out a mass mailing, maybe we should have set up a groups IO group that is sent output only, and put in a reference. If you want further information, sign up for the groups IO, and then we essentially build our own mailing list.
yeah, that's a good idea. I like that idea.
we have that. It's just
with
a
with
Google
HamSci,
group. It's a HamSci-Eclipse at groups.google.com or googlegroups.com.
Well, then
that is
use it in the email blast that you send out, so that then you
build
have
that list.
a mailing list, a self-made mailing list.
that is announcement only. The Eclipse HamSci-Eclipse is announcement only. It's not dialogue.
Yeah.
Well, that's perfect for what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Mackenzie will be listening to the YouTube, so she'll pick up on that. So that's a good idea, Ed.
Yeah, or we could do it as a parking lot and get it done. So
okay, so Nathaniel, I'll send you the email reminder on that. I got it written down on my notes here, so I'll take care of that. Okay, great, that's good. Let's take a look at HamSci by the numbers. We haven't looked at our numbers, and coincidentally, we were just talking about numbers, right? So anyhow, so here we go. So this first number here that's struck through is from, I think, late June. This was early July, and this was as of earlier today. So our HamSci Google group, we're over 900. Pretty good growth since the springtime. The HamSci Grape group has grown quite a bit too, 175. And the Eclipse group that we were just talking about has grown slowly. But if that's part of a big mass mailing, I said we'll see that number jump up quite a bit. Also, there are a couple of what I call event worksheets where people can go on the HamSci website and indicate their interest in our various events. The TDOA thing is up to 11. Steve and I have been working with some of those people. The SEQP pre-registrations are approaching 300. The medium wave of recording events jumped up there as well. And the folks that have read about the Grape 1 or Grape 2 and have shown interest in hosting has grown a lot as well. So I mean, I got no way of comparing these to anything else, but when I see growth and the continuous growth month after month, that tells me that the advertising we're doing is working. We're getting the word out, and every time we hit one of these major publications, you see a bump in these numbers. So hopefully everybody feels pretty good about the numbers they see up there.
Good.
So I have a
Any
question.
questions?
Hosting a grape 1 or 2, how many locations do you really want? How many of these do you have?
Well, we'll talk about the current iteration of the Grape One, what's been going on in the last few months in a few minutes. But Nathaniel, I guess, is there a limit to how many systems we'd want out there across the U.S. and Canada and so on and so forth, or?
No, there's no limit. More is better. So, I mean, one question is how many, we're asking people to buy their own equipment, but definitely more is better. I guess I'll have to work with Bill Engelke and the Alabama team to figure out how we store all of the data. But I guess that'll be a good problem to have. One thing I do know about the Alabama system is they do have a kind of a large back end to their IT system. So they can convince administrators, oh, turn on additional storage for us, and then we can potentially get the money later to pay for it. But, I think there's a certain amount of, they apparently have a good solid system there.
Okay, great. Does that answer your question, Mary Lou?
So I guess it's, but there's enough equipment out there that people can buy that 236 people could do this, right?
Well, this will be a mix of the Grape Ones, which are the do-it-yourselfers that people like myself have built their own surface mount boards and assembled their systems. There's a few that we've grant supplied systems to, and the Grape 2 is kind of an unknown because we really don't have a price on it and availability on it yet. That'll be in early 2024. So the price of that may scare some people off, and it may not. It'll be a bargain compared to any other scientific system, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, if everybody's good with the numbers. So this one was kind of an interesting thing. Ed's been working with the Radio Amateurs of Canada to get them to support the event. And this here, I'm gonna open this link. This kind of came along as out of the blue as a surprise, but a pleasant surprise, where the Canadians are doing a simulated emergency test. Part 1 is October 14th, coincidentally, but they're also promoting our Eclipse SEQP as part of their event, and with Bill Engelke's photo on their website. They're having kind of a training session this Friday evening. Ed and I are going to attend and see if they need anything from us or how we might collaborate on this. But it's kind of interesting that how one posting and one blurb on one site kind of leads to another. This was probably from the NASA site that was done.
Yeah, he picked that up off of our release. Okay, this is
Okay.
from Alan Griffin, who's in the RAC office. So Nick is on this call. Nick, do you know a little bit any more about what's going on here? In terms of what's going on with RAC in this?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Okay.
There might be some people in CIDX who might
Okay.
know. I could inquire.
I mean, we'll learn more tomorrow. This is on their Facebook page right now. So,
Okay. All right.
So
That's great.
yeah, it's totally positive. It's just a wonderful thing. So
yep.
Okay, that's that.
Before you go on, can I add a couple?
Sure, go ahead.
And we should be aware that the major population area in Canada is from essentially Detroit up through to Ottawa. And the eclipse is going to, this current eclipse, the October eclipse, is going to pass very close to there. So there's going to be a substantial reduction of sunlight, solar radiation across the major population area of Canada.
Well, I guess it's fortuitous then that we've been in touch with the RAC and they're picking up on it, and things are moving forward. From there on.
Sorry, is that this coming one or the?
No, it's the April.
No, it's the April one.
April.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Yeah, you're correct.
Yep. Yeah, but I've got a note into Alan Griffin, and I'm waiting to hear back from him just in case there's anything more. So, if not, we'll know more tomorrow night.
Okay, Nathaniel, you had some comments.
Yeah, so I had a couple of media things happen this week. I was interviewed by a reporter from BBC Future on Monday, I think. And then I was also interviewed by a reporter from the American Geophysical Union's EOS magazine today as well. There's actually going to be 2 interviews from EOS. One is going to be from focused on just us, and the other is going to be inclusive of a number of different Eclipse projects. One thing that came out of today's conversation is the reporter, her name is Kim Cartier, is in the DC area, and she's looking for she'd like to hear the solar eclipse QSO party for herself. So I was wondering if we had a site in the DC area that had SEQP participants that I could direct her to, and they would be willing to host a reporter.
There's a
Back
fair
to
number
you.
of contesters in the Baltimore, Maryland area, and there's some in DC as well, but I don't know if we're on the call today or not.
Yeah, I'm pretty far away from there. I'm up near Philadelphia.
But could we have our interest list? Can we go through our interest list and then
Yeah. And also
pick
Potomac, club list with Potomac Valley.
PVRC,
Yep, exactly. Yep.
their contact? Yeah, so if we could find a good site, one that kind of has their act together and is good at public relations and is of the friendly persuasion, like Ron was saying, is important. That would be the group to send her to. We don't want to send her to a group that doesn't talk to anybody.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the 300 or so people on that list. I'll bounce them against some of the contesting lists and things I've got and see if I recognize any of the names on there, because that'd be a good place to start too. So
Yep.
I'll take care of that. Let's see. So I've got the facts. The reporter is from which media, Nathaniel? From where?
It is from AGU, the American Geophysical Union magazine, eos.org.
Okay.
So this is a
that's easy to
magazine
find.
for geoscience type of people.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'll see what I can find. Let me see what I find first before I reach out.
Bill, I think you did a couple. Bill, KETE, you did a couple of NASA clubs, right? Were there any clubs from DC in that from that list, from what you recall?
None of which I'm aware.
Okay. I could follow with Desiree from the ARLPR committee, because she's got a connection, working for NASA. So, okay, so I'll follow up there, Gary.
Okay, yeah, Ed and I'll put our heads together on that then.
Yep.
That's fine. That's good.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. All right, great. Anything else, Nathaniel?
The reporter may join us for some of our telecons in the future.
Good. All right.
I think
Okay, I'll pop back to the agenda then. Okay. The TDOA event. Steve's with us today. One of the topics last week were the test runs and whatnot. And Steve's done a little bit of work for that. I'll show you on our own webpage. Steve's written up a procedure. Steve's written up some operating tips and chosen a couple of dates, times, and frequencies. And we've publicized this to the people that have signed up to as interested in the TDOA event. Steve, is there anything you want to say or you'd like to add?
Well, I picked these times because that's about when the eclipse is going to be coming over. So it's a representative time of day to check out propagation. And I divided this hour up into 4 chunks, one for 75, one for 60, one for 40, and one for 20 meters. This last Sunday, after the QCWA net, I got with Doug, W6KE, who is in Carlsbad, California, and I'm here in Texas, and we decided to give it a try on 20. I'd never tried it on 20. And by golly, we got some multipath. And in fact, if you'd like to see a screen grab of it, let me share my screen and I'll show it to you.
Sure.
Okay, so this, can you see this picture here?
Yes.
Okay, this is going, just to show you what these look like after going through audio filters and radios. This is, hang on just one moment here. Kat, I'm on the radio here. This is just going across the room to another receiver. No chance for multipath when the receiver is less than a wavelength away. The waveform starts out square in amplitude, so this triangular trapezoidal shape that you see here is the audio filters and the transmitter and the receiver. Nothing we can do about that. We start out with 5 kilohertz. The radios pare it down to, 2800 hertz or whatever you can fit through it. Oh boy, hang on a second. Never fails. So here's the little short single cycle pulse, which truly does start out life as one cycle at 1.5 kilohertz. Here's how it comes out across the room. The audio filters in one of the radios, probably the R8600 adds, 8500 adds some ringing to it. Here's how it came from Carlsbad, California. Clearly we have multipath because there's not one pulse there, but 2. Unfortunately, they're close enough together that one doesn't quit ringing before the other one starts. So what you see is a lot of overlap and superposition, but the chirps will help. I like having these in here because sometimes they work out really well. They certainly tell you at first glance whether you've got multipath or not, and it certainly does. They're here. And it more or less agrees with the times that you get out of this. So this is one of the chirps. Here's another one. As you saw from that very first picture I put up here, if there were not multipath, there would be none of the scalloping. But the scalloping is here, and this is the program that Nathaniel has been working on to help extract what that beat note actually is. One thing that's interesting is that the TDOA is longer than I would have expected for 20 meters. This is a 1,600 kilometer path, easily bigger by a factor of 2 than anyone I've looked at before. Before this, the longest one was from here to WWV in Colorado. And those TDOAs kind of matched up with a virtual height model of the ionosphere. This one, it's too long. It's more like 1.8, 1.7 milliseconds. And on long paths, the difference between the first 1 and 2 hops gets smaller. They get closer together because all the angles getting up. So interesting stuff to learn here. It's always neat to come across something that you don't expect because you get to try and figure out what the heck is going on. And then this other one, part of the same data set, if you look at the period between this null and this null, and then look at the period between this one and this one, it's longer. It's almost like the whatever multipath is happening here is changing during the course of this this chirp. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see how this stuff shakes out when we actually get the extraction tool working.
So what time of day was this?
This was right after the QCWA net. It was about 2100 UTC.
2100, okay.
Maybe it's a Pedersen ray and a straight ray, or one hop ray. I don't know. It can be interesting to find out. I'd really like to see some ray trace programs come up with predictions. Some time ago, Carl, I forget Carl Lutzenswab's call letter, but he gave me some PropLab Pro ray trace simulations when we were first doing Doppler analyses, and he actually gave me the time of flights of those different modes: 1 hop, 2 hop, 3 hop, and boy, you can get TDOA just by subtracting the numbers. I would sure like to team up with someone that you can actually do some ray trace stuff, either FarLab or PropLab Pro.
So what date was this?
Go ahead, Nathaniel.
What date was this?
Oh, this was this last Sunday. The date was,
24? No,
sounds right,
no, that's coming up. 17.
17, yeah. It was this very last Sunday, right after the QCWA net, which always starts at 2000 Zulu. And so this was around 2100 Zulu. Actually,
Daniel, do we have a student who can do the ray tracing for him?
I was just about to say I'm working on recruiting one. I had a lead on a student, but they picked a different project. They wanted to work on quantum computing instead. But I did stand up in front of our IEEE where there were 100 students in the room today. After two of my students gave presentations about what they did this summer, I said, I have a slot for another student to work on the solar eclipse QSO party stuff. So I will try to recruit somebody.
Hey, tell them quantum computing, everybody's doing that. This is unique.
I know. There are some students, I really found there are some students who are just like, I want to do this, or, they don't see this as whatever. For various reasons, if a student, wants to work on a particular project, it's not really worth trying to push them to do something you don't want to do.
And besides, quantum computing, there's just so much uncertainty to it.
Yes, there is. I think we'll find somebody. I think what's good is, we're going into this, I'm hoping that we'll be able to get some good starting data with this October eclipse. And I'm hoping we can bring a student on mid-semester or something and get them to be able to participate in some of the TDOA stuff in April. And then actually have them for the next couple of years to do some analysis on it. But, it'd be interesting too, the FAR lab code and PyLab code is free. It would be interesting if we could find some other like volunteers who want to try their hand at doing some of this modeling. Because there may be someone who just wants to be like, oh yeah, I want to try ray trace modeling, and we can give them the stuff.
So anyway, we have run a number of already tests from here up to North Texas, which is only a 317 kilometer path, but it showed stuff that you kind of expected. This is the first time we've run it over this really, really long path. I have gotten data from WWV, which is like 1,350 kilometers. And that all looked pretty good too, because WWV transmits those waveforms at 8 and 48 after the hour. Well, WV is just 8 after the hour.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens this weekend. And then 2 weeks later, we'll try it again.
All right, good. Any questions for Steven, the TDOA thing? That's coming along together pretty nicely.
I just got a message that, no, sorry, any questions for Steve?
Good. Okay, right, next. Nathaniel?
What's that? Oh, I just
said,
from Salisa saying that my grape arrived. It's sitting upstairs. So I'm very tempted, depending on how the agenda is, I'm tempted to run up, get it, and unbox it here, but I want to stick to business first.
well, that was my first science topic, so that would probably be perfectly fine if you got a couple minutes to do that.
Yeah, I can run up really quickly, grab it, and then I can unbox it right here. So if you don't, you can
keep
go right chatting
ahead.
amongst yourselves.
In the meantime, I'm going to look for an image. I had an alias here set up and it disappeared. So let me look at my documents real quick. Photos. 27 from the 2017 eclipse. Yeah. Move that to my iCloud drive. Hopefully I can see it on this computer. Okay, let me jump back to the agenda real quick. Let's see, let me get back to Zoom, share screen, see what I'm looking at. Okay, so the scoring committee Real briefly, I did contact Bruce Horn last week, WA7BNM. He is the gentleman who's worked on the log upload robots for dozens and dozens of contests. And he had told us late last year that he'd be happy to work on ours. So he's got that task. He said he's going to start working on it. He'll let me know when there's something to test. And then when that happens, I'll be able to update our rules page with the location of the log robot. One thing I just wanted to point out real quick, I want to go to this link. I'm not sure how many people are aware, but these many of the log upload robots and the servers that hold that software, and also the people who maintain the Cabrillo specification that's so important to uploading and scoring contest files, is a group called the Worldwide Radio Operators Foundation, WWROF. And they are a nonprofit group of many high octane contesters, I guess I would say, and others that are skilled in these areas. So if you're involved with contesting, if you're interested in it, if you appreciate the fact that others have devoted some time and effort to these specifications, to supplying computing horsepower and stuff, you may want to take a walk over to the wwrof.org site and see what you can do to poke around over there a little bit. The other thing I just found I was going to show next, let's see, let me click over to preview. This was the participation certificate that I earned from operating the SEQP in 2017. So of course we need a new updated one for 2023, and then we'll need another for 2024. So Nathaniel was working with his graphics design department there at Scranton, and today he got commitment from them to update the certificate. I think they created the original one. They're going to update this for this year and whatnot. I know we've got a different Hamsai logo. We've got the League Diamond in there and so on and so forth. So that's one thing that's crossed off the list. So as people enter their logs, they can click a link and they will get their own participation certificate downloaded. So that's out of the way. The other good news is Adarsh KN6VIS, who is joining us here over the summer, but who has since been busy with high school. He hasn't been able to join us since early September, but he's been working on the scoring software. In fact, he had a meeting, Zoom meeting with Nathaniel, I think it was, yesterday, to review some of the things in Nathaniel's code from 2017. So it's good to know that that is still moving forward. Let me see if Nathaniel came back with his grape in a box yet. Maybe not. Okay. Another thing I wanted to mention, I'll jump ahead a little bit. The 2024 Hamsai workshop, the dates are set. We know it's going to be at Case Western Reserve University, and both the local organizing and the science committees have been active. The local organizing committee has picked their site for the banquet. It's going to be a place called the Crawford Auto Aviation Museum in University Circle, very close to the college. And it's a fantastic place. And if you like car carousel horses, they have one of the finest examples of a working carousel in the entire Midwest. And it will be operating during our banquet, or before and after the banquet, I guess I should say. Was originally at an amusement park in Cleveland called Euclid Beach, and it's a Western Reserve Historical Society found a home for it, built in addition to their building, and that's just a little bit something a little different. But anyhow, so that's moving along pretty well.
I remember going to Euclid Beach as a teenager. It was a wonderful amusement park. Crazy.
Yep. So yeah, you can relive your childhood, Mary Louise.
There you go. Okay.
I'll take you a ride through Shaker Heights, and we'll see if Shaker Lake's been filled back in yet or not, too. So
yeah, that would be interesting.
All right, Nathaniel's back. He must have a box in his hand.
I have a box. It's right here. It says from Stanley Pozerski in Pepperell, Massachusetts. So I guess I should open this up. I'm very excited.
So a little background on this. This is the new Grape One system. This is the software that records the data in digital RF format. The New England Grape Group is a very industrious group of 5 guys up there who really took it upon themselves to not only build the great PC boards, but to assemble these systems, to come up with a mounting methodology, to burn, working with Bill Engelke, who burned the SD cards, to test each of the systems, and then box them and ship them out to so far 13 stations. And so we're seeing it live.
Yes, there's a little envelope in here that has the SD card adapter in it, and it has a little sticker with my name and address, or a little label with my name and address on it, and then it says ham radio digital RF startup guide, and tells me where to find the startup guide and where to get support and help for the project. It's all very nice. And then it's all, wow, look at all this nice packing. Oh my gosh, this is quite the package here. Wow. And there, that is the actual grape right there. So I think one thing I don't have, I do have one, it's just not easy to repurpose, is a mini HDMI cable. So I'll have to go get one of those. But yeah, look at the workmanship that they put into creating this grape system here. This is the actual grape board right there, just that little board. This is a Leo Bodner GPSDO. That's the sound card. That's the Raspberry Pi. And the New England Grape Group very nicely made these wooden boards that it sits on, complete with little legs.
A true breadboard.
It's a true breadboard. Yes, this is a real breadboard. And it's got a nice ground lug on it, and ports for the antenna, HF antenna, the GPS antenna. It's all very solidly attached, which is so much better than the Grape One I have running right now at my house, which is just kind of barely holding on there. So I think this looks absolutely amazing. It's so nice, and I am very excited to be able to put one of these on the air.
Yeah, so the goal for the CDAR grant that Nathaniel received was to get 26 of those stations on the air, and I think 23 of them have now, they're somewhere in this kind of state. I mean, there's 5 or 6 people who've built their own and actually have them up and running. They're uploading data to the University of Alabama server. There's a dozen that are just like Nathaniel's got there. People are unboxing them and plugging them in as we speak. And there's another half a dozen or so people who've built their own systems. And the Hamside team, Bill Engelke and the New England guys have programmed the SD cards and mailed them out to them. So it's heartening to watch the amount of volunteerism that and professionalism at the same time that went into building these systems. There's no other way to put it.
They took their jobs very seriously.
Yep. Yeah, they donated quite a bit to the cause. There's no question about that. And now we're going to be start stress testing the University of Alabama server as these people come online one by one. So that's going to be fun to watch too.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, hey, nice job. We got to the end of my agenda, and we had a couple extra things added in there, which is fantastic. Nathaniel, I don't know if you were out of the room or not, but I mentioned the fact that the scoring committee is moving along. You talked to Adarsh the other night, and
Yep,
so
last night.
that's a positive thing too. So.
And we have progress on the certificates too.
Right. Yeah, I showed the old one from 2017 that I'd earned 6 years ago, and
Yes.
that's good that in a week or so we'll have the new image. So fantastic.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that anybody wants to bring up?
Yeah, just a reminder, if you've got ideas for the social media piece, okay, just because we're trying to do like sort of a piece every day going up to the Eclipse. So if you could just drop it, either to Gary or myself, and we'll pass it on to Mackenzie and get it done. And also, if you're scheduled to do any presentations, thank you, Gary, for sending yours along. Okay, let's add them to the list, and we'll pass the master list around to everybody. So, and I see.
Can you?
Go ahead.
So I just sent you a couple more.
Yes, I saw that as well, Nathaniel. Thank you.
Did you see the email from Hua Hamano about the Eclipse schedule that NASA has?
I recall seeing it. I remember the name.
Okay, yeah.
Hua. How do I spell her
That may
name?
help us with our NASA issues. So,
What's your NASA issue?
no, we were looking for somebody around DC for American Geophysical Union. So if there's
Oh.
somebody associated in DC, that may be a sure
Yeah,
path.
no, this would not be this would not be for that.
Okay.
Hahua is a NASA person, but she is kind of coordinating the PR efforts for all of the different citizen science Eclipse projects.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay. And so they are maintaining an Eclipse calendar, and I will send this to you again.
Yeah, I just might have
And
missed
so
it.
what you can do is you can email things to her if you want them put on the NASA Eclipse calendar.
Okay.
And conversely, if you're looking for ideas to, reach out, to add to the social media or whatever, and you want to, do cross-disciplinary or interdisciplinary, there might be ideas from all the different NASA Eclipse projects that are going on
Great.
there.
That's a great idea.
And so
Thank you.
I'm sending you the most. And if you have questions about the different projects and things, feel free to reach out to Hahua and just let her know that you're with Hamsa and you're working with me. She's already worked with Gary, so she knows who he is.
Okay.
And I'm sure she'll be glad to help resource you.
Perfect. Thank you. Gary, I think Gary had a hand up, so.
Yeah, I want a little story here real quick. If I can share it here. Okay. If you can see, anyway, this was me last Saturday, and I had
Wow.
I tried to make the setup looking different. I asked for tables I could have a power connection to, and I sent this picture to my daughter, and she says, "What's the tablecloth that you got?" I said, "It's a 99-cent Walmart tablecloth. I just didn't want a white table with nothing on it." So she has an embroidery company, and in West Ashley, South Carolina. So she's going to embroider the Hamsai logo with the Morse code on it. And she says, that way you'll look like you belong.
There
And
you
I
go.
said, well, thank you. So,
Can I buy one of those too?
There you go.
Well, that'll save Mary Lou from making us a quilt, so
That's
we're
right.
okay.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Ask her if she does polo shirts, because we could use them.
yeah, she does. She does embroidery.
Next week I'll have the pillow she made that has a super darn fields of view on it. I'll have that in my office. Didn't quite get it here yet, but it's coming to my office.
Yeah,
Yes, wait till you see this pillow. It's
All right.
amazing.
Yeah, the only limitation she has right now is she can only do letters 7 inches tall. And the length is fine, but
All
7
right.
inches.
It'll work at a ham fest, no worries. So
That'll be
so I
beautiful.
told her-
Yeah, I'm glad you found that picture, Gary. Thanks.
there you go.
Yeah. So I told her, yes, definitely do it. Send it on. I said, I'll use it. So she says, well, of course. She says, I want my dad to look good. So,
All in the family. It works. Comment for you quickly, Nathaniel. I reached out to Mark Kruchner about the NASA Citizen Science event in November in Virginia, and I'm waiting to hear back from him. I was just trying to get a little bit of a feel of what our involvement would be. Is it a more of an academic thing, or is it a give and take? Are there poster sessions or whatnot? So I'm waiting to hear back from Mark on that.
That's great.
Yeah, I tried to look up past years, and the most recent I could come up with was a 2020 virtual one on Zoom. So that wasn't much help. So anyhow, I'll wait. I'll let you know what I find out.
That sounds great.
Okay, 4:58, 2 minutes to go before the big gong. Anything else, Ed? You got something or no? Nope.
I'm good.
This is
Good.
Bill. I took the standard presentation and shortened it up for NOAA and NASA's event. I'll have 15 minutes to give it. So I submitted that today for their review. And they're going to put it all on all of the 5 presentations from different organizations on a single computer.
Great.
Make life easy.
Nice. Okay. Good. Okay, if that's it, we'll call it a wrap. Actually, I'm not going to be here next week. A good friend of mine is putting up a 190-foot tower And tomorrow, next Thursday is when he was able to get the crane rented. So I've been working for 2 months with him, rebuilding 4 tri-banners and 2 40-meter beams. So I don't want to miss the installation.
Oh
So,
no. Do you
Yeah,
want to
Pictures.
yeah. Do you want to just cancel next week then?
I think we could, because as Ed said, we've got everything pretty well set. We're not doing a whole lot of new stuff.
Yeah,
I think we
because
could
one
take
of
a
the
week
things
off.
that I desperately need and cannot get are large blocks of time to sit down and write things. And if I don't have to come to this meeting, then I potentially have from like 1 until 5 or 5:30 p.m. that I can actually work on writing. And that would be tremendously helpful.
Mark off your calendar and go get a chair in a coffee shop. You're good.
There you go.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
Okay, good. So we'll take a week off next week, and then and hope everybody has a good couple of weeks.
Yep.
Thank you.
Perfect.
All right, everyone. Thanks for your
you.
participation. Good seeing and talking to everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Thank
Take care,
73.
everybody.
73s.
73.
Hey, Mary Lou, Gladys says to say hi.
Tell her I said hi too. My granddaughter, who's 11, is taking